All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out the Rich CELENZA show. I'm with two of my oldest and closest buddies downtown Orlando at the Remax office off Central, Joe Pensante, Miguel Martinez. So, you want to say anything, Joe?
No, I'm okay. I'm just ready to get moving here and start talking about our exciting topic we have.
All right, so what I'm going to get into today is what's the real deal regarding the real estate in Florida. I should say Central Florida. Joey's been in the business, real estate mortgage, for I think over 20 years now.
Yes.
And Miguel now he's had his license for numerous amounts of years, but when have you started?
In my second year, this go around.
Yeah.
I did it once before and kind of gave it up, and now I'm back at it. Been going at it for about 2 years now.
Your wife was in it for many, many years, though, so you're not...
For a long time, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like you don't know what the hell's going on here. So we kind of got old school, new school, as far as realtor, right? Mm-hmm. The realtors go. And then my craziness I'm going to jump into, because even talking to Joe and Miguel, they have two totally different perspectives, I think, on many things regarding real estate. And then me not being a realtor, I'm going to ask the questions. And I think the one question I want to ask first is... I want the truth regarding what the value of homes really are right now, because I think most people are afraid to buy, or are actually on the flip side very excited to buy. But I think with the way the economy is going with COVID and the pandemic, we know a lot of people may or may not be paying rent. A lot of people may or may not be paying mortgages. We don't know what type of foreclosures are going to happen in the future. We don't even know after the election. So, Joe, I'm going to start with you. You've been very busy, actually, lately, selling homes. Is it because of New York out-of-towners, or is it because of locals?
Well, what I saw is a lot of people think that the market went down, and it necessarily didn't. What we found in the market is it actually just paused.
Okay.
It just came to a standstill for a certain amount of time, then it jumped back. What made it sort of busy is people took their homes off the market. Mm-hmm. So it went limited inventory. Mm-hmm. So whenever there's limited inventory, you still have people that have to buy, sell, or move for any particular reason. So towards the middle, going towards, I'd say about August, the market just went crazy for some reason.
Okay.
You can go down into our board of sales. Mm-hmm. It was ridiculous. It got all the way to the bottom of the board.
Is that locals or New Yorkers, East Coast, Midwest?
It's a mix of a lot of things. It's hard to pinpoint because we really didn't do a lot of research exactly where they're coming.
Okay.
Give you one example. In the last 5 days of call-ins and walk-ins, 3 of them were from up north looking to flee.
Okay.
Get out of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, places like that.
Okay. Because
they're tired of what's going on up there. Mm-hmm. They're purposely being shut down or kept shut down for whatever reason. We're not going to turn it political this podcast at all. But they're like, I can't function. I can't, with the violence and the riots and the things like that. Like, I'm not going to stay around here.
Taxes.
Right, taxes.
Everything.
Oh, that's another thing with taxes. So we saw some of the busier people closing deals left and right.
Okay.
And I think what another thing is I realized is during the COVID, many realtors either new in the business or have been around some time, but not really full time, just retracted back.
Gotcha.
Stepped out. They didn't want to pay any of the fees. They didn't want to pay the real estate fees. Maybe they had a debt fee. Maybe they had expenses. Mm-hmm. And they say, you know what, forget this, and walked away.
Right, at least for now.
Mm-hmm. Where all the more aggressive realtors stayed around. Mm-hmm. And when the people came forward, like, well, listen, there's very limited inventory. I have to move. For my business stayed open, whatever it is.
Whatever, the lease ends, whatever the case may be. Right.
So we got busy.
Right.
And me, I had the opportunity to stay around because I live right here. Mm-hmm. So I was in the office just playing around, and little things just came at me.
Right.
Little rentals, a closing or two.
Yeah.
And I saw the more active people closing 3, 4, 5 deals a month. Mm-hmm. It was crazy,
Interesting.
you know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of a summarization of it, of my perspective.
Right, and-
so far. We can go even more deeper at a later time, like real deep.
Right.
But that's just a generalization
Right.
of what's going on.
Miguel, what do you think? Because let me say one thing. So you were in it 2 years ago. So for a year, obviously, before COVID. Now this year, basically being involved with COVID.
Right.
So you've actually had 2 years, totally opposite, I think, to a certain degree. Or is it the same?
Yeah, it's obviously COVID impacted, all aspects of our lives. But I've had two different years, and I thought COVID was going to be a rough year for me. When COVID came, we shut down our office. Our office was shut down. We were not allowed to even come in here.
Right.
Yeah.
At
For
Remax.
about, what, 2 months?
2
maybe?
months, yeah,
Well-
April and May.
Well, we were allowed to come in, but we weren't allowed to open the front door for walk-ins.
Well, yeah.
So we came in and we answered the phones
Right.
and stuff like that.
And so those 2 months it was really slow, and we missed out on the spring selling seasons. Usually spring is the from what I've gathered in my limited time, spring is the busiest time for buying and selling homes. Everybody's looking to move, to look for a better school district, a different school district, a different school zone, whatever. Right. And we missed out on that because of COVID. Naturally, very few people were opening their homes up for customers to come look at their house.
Sure,
during
you're not
COVID.
going to do open houses, and you're not going to right.
Nobody knew what was going on with COVID, and how what the extent of it was. So basically, for those couple of months, it seemed like the market kind of shut down. Then it started opening up in June, and we got hit then with what is usually the spring selling and buying season. Got moved into the summer buying and selling season because we missed out on that spring season.
Right.
And so we got busy in June and July, and then some of the states up north, I think, started opening up. A lot of the people from up north come to Florida to vacation anyways. Yeah. And so when this COVID hit hard up there, they were like, why are we go down there all the time.
Yeah.
Let's just pack up and move down there. They got lower taxes, lower, fuel costs, lower housing costs, lower yada, yada, yada. Everything was lower down here. So I think a lot of people from up north decided, hey, let's just make the move.
Especially because things are becoming more virtual too, right?
Exactly.
So now you have an opportunity.
People are able to work from home more now, and they didn't need to be, anchored in the Northeast or whatever. We're getting a lot of Northeast traffic. I hear that Texas and Arizona or whatever getting
Tennessee.
a lot of California
sure.
folks.
Yeah, they're abandoning California big.
Yeah, and so but we're getting a lot of the Northeast, Pennsylvania, Jersey, New York, maybe
Midwest.
some from Chicago. But again, I'm doing the real estate stuff part time.
Yeah.
I'm probably busier than I want to be right now. But you take it while you can get it.
Yeah. Holidays are coming around, and that little extra money makes a big difference right now.
Yeah.
If you're busy.
All right, so here I got another question regarding, say, getting financing for the home now. We know a lot of people have been let go, furloughed, everything in between, fired, whatever. How are you qualifying people or couples, say, for instance, because if they've lost their job or furloughed or haven't collected any income, how are they qualifying? Because I think this is where it gets a little tricky.
All right, so here's what we're finding out from the research I'm doing, and it's happening with a couple of our clients. If for any reason you got furloughed, they're making stipulations, or they're enforcing stipulations that they're being a little more lenient on certain areas. So say, I give you an example, I have one couple. One stayed working.
Okay.
But just her, and accumulating both their debts, her income was not able to make it inside the debt-to-income ratio.
Okay.
So they came up with a stipulation that, well, it used to be you can change jobs or go back to work, but you have to be in the same type of business. Now they're saying, due to a state mandatory shutdown that
Right.
you can go back to work and just get us one pay stub, 2 pay stubs,
Okay.
and we'll count it.
Okay.
As long as the subordinate, the main one that never lost work,
Yeah.
can cover at least maybe, at least half that income or a little bit more,
Okay.
then they'll accept that.
Hmm.
So they've given that because, they looked at it. We can't just disqualify people and stop people because they didn't make the choice to leave their job.
Right.
The state shut them down.
Yeah.
So one particular that we use said, just get me one pay stub.
Right.
That's it, and I can add it in, and we're good.
And they have to have good credit, obviously, as well,
Right,
and the downstroke
you can't
and
do
everything
this
else
when you're
as
down
well.
in the 500s.
Right.
They'll allow it if you're above, which is the base mark, which is the 620 or above.
Gotcha.
If you start going below that, now they start looking at everything with a fine tooth comb.
Right.
And you don't want that. And if they discover one thing they don't like, they'll make an executive decision to shut the whole thing down. But they did put stipulations to help people in place. So they are making a conscious effort to really help people.
Right.
They're making a good effort to help people. That's what I'm finding.
You know a lot more about mortgages than I do,
Right.
and they tightened the lending requirements. Didn't they raise the credit score minimum from 580 to 620?
Some of them
on FHA.
Well, no, FHA you can do below a 620. You can go as low as a 560, but it's no longer 3.5% down. It's a higher percentage down, and they'll go FHA, or they'll do 3.5% down. Just that your debt to income ratio has to be like 35, 37%. You're not getting all the way up to that 50 and 55, 52% debt to income ratio. You're not doing it. Because they're like, listen, if your credit is this low, you're already tight. Now I'm going to loan to you at almost 50, 52%, which is the norm on a debt to income ratio.
Right.
Those are two right there. Those are two variables that they can throw up red flags.
Gotcha. Now, I heard this, I don't know if it's a rumor, that a lot of lenders are giving a lot of homeowners a lot of more time to make their payments, or they're postponing it, say, a year or 6 months. Is that true?
They're doing what's called deferment.
Okay.
What they're doing is they're taking the payment and they're putting it at the end of the loan. So the first thing that they did is they give anyone, depending on the lender, they started with 1 month, they
Okay.
went month to month, starting March, because nobody understood what was going to happen. So they did 1 month. They'll do March,
Right.
when it first started, or April.
So you got an additional 30 days, is what you're saying? You don't have to pay?
Right, so they deferred it.
Yeah.
Then they did April.
Mm-hmm.
Then when they realized the shutdown was coming, remember April going into May?
Okay.
When they did the real shutdown, then what they did is they said, okay, we're not going to take the chance going month to month. So some people had told me that they went to their lender and they said, we're going to just stop everything and do 90 days.
Wow. So they basically got 90 free days. They're putting it on the end.
They're putting it on the end.
Which is a nice deal if you think about
Right.
it. Because say you sold your house in 90 days. Because then you didn't even have to pay anything.
Yeah,
right?
They,
Just saying.
They can't go through this first is no court that's going to go and do a foreclosure in the middle of a statewide pandemic and mandatory shutdown.
Right.
They're not. So the lenders know that if we send this paperwork to a lawyer,
Right.
all we're going to do is accrue lawyer costs, an attorney
fees.
cost,
Yeah,
and the
fees.
judge is going to look at them because they already shut down the courthouse.
Right.
And the judge is going to go, what are you sending me this for? We're in the state mandatory. What are you wasting time? Are you going to put this family out on the street during a pandemic? And that's what they help. They help with that. They help with car loans, all different things. And the same thing with the statewide eviction memorandum. They kept extending it because you're just going to attempt to evict thousands of people at the same time. One, the courts are going to look at it like it's a joke. And then the lawyers, all they're going to do is accrue these fees. And the people can't make the payment now. You're going to build it up and then go after them for attorney fees? What do you think? The court is going to allow that? And they're not. And now they're working with everybody. That's what we're seeing.
And when you start evicting people, I mean, where are they going to go now?
Exactly.
You can't go get another apartment because you got an eviction on you.
You got an eviction.
Where are you going to go? So you're going to fill up the streets.
You have no money to get a new apartment.
Yep.
You probably damaged your credit in the meantime. During this COVID, a lot of people damaged their credit during this. Credit cards. Some people didn't know about deferment and then they just stopped paying their car payment. A lot of people don't pick that phone up and call their lender. Call their leasing department.
Right.
Call your car loan, where you are. They'll work with you.
Right.
But when you avoid their phone calls,
yeah,
that's where the court says those are the people are going to be the ones that are going to be punished.
Right.
Because I'm not even going to answer a phone call.
Right. You got to be responsible.
You got to be responsible and talk with them.
Let's go to renting because I'm a renter. It seems like they've been giving people who have mortgages kind of a deal. But if you're a renter, really not any deal that I've seen. What are you guys looking at here? Because you deal with rentals downtown Orlando.
I don't know exactly what you mean by giving people a deal. I mean,
I don't mean a deal, but like say giving you 90 days.
Leniency?
Yeah,
leniency. I mean, they're
it's
doing that with renters too, though.
But they're not saying to me, hey, at the end we'll add on another 3 months onto your lease, but right now you don't have to pay for 3 months. Maybe depending on the complex or the building, they may cut a deal. Like my friend he lived in Bermuda Dunes, remember him? Mm-hmm. He got 50 off his rent through the pandemic. I got 0. So anyways, and like you just said.
Because you didn't push harder on it.
Well, I'm not looking for a deal necessarily.
I know you're not.
But
right.
like what happened, like, I want to hear Miguel's and then you tell me because, you're in a building downtown as well.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and I don't know that much about the rental market. I mean, and every individual apartment complex probably has different rules and policies that they're going to do and how they're going to help people out. But with an apartment, they'll give you that forbearance. They'll put it off. They'll put it to the add it to the end of the lease, and or have you make payments, the catch-up payments.
Right.
I'm not well versed on that. Joey probably knows a little bit more than I do about that.
Here's basically what happened. In the beginning, nobody knew what was really going on.
Well, in the beginning,
no one knew.
It was 15 days. It was 15 days to flatten the curve.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And now here we are. What? 8 months, 9 months later.
Then it extended, another month. And here we are. Yeah.
Here's what happened. In about the middle of March is where it really started to shut down, and the leaseors, the renters are the lessees, the leaseors or the apartment buildings or the landlords, they were still forcing their hand. Mm-hmm. They said, "Listen, we know that you're going to probably be getting unemployment or you may get a stimulus or whatever. You got to pay us."
Yeah.
But a lot of people are like, no, I'd have to hide money because I don't know what's going to happen the next few months.
Especially if they lost their job.
They lost their job.
Right, that's what they're going to live on.
Or they cut the hours first, and then when they got down to it and shut everything down, many people didn't get the unemployment right away. Many people didn't get the stimulus right away.
They didn't get the CARES Act? What is that?
The CARES Act, which is the $600 a week here in Florida. But many people were fighting the system because Florida's system is so. What's the word I'm looking for? It wasn't designed.
It wasn't organized.
It wasn't designed to handle that amount of people trying to go after it,
especially unemployment.
So when the system crashed, people couldn't get in to put their information in.
Right.
So they're like, how do I get in? Like, nobody was answering phones. They had no money. They got the landlord telling me, "Where's my money?"
Not to mention our unemployment is the weakest one of them in the country. So you're looking at $250 when everybody else is paying $1,800, $2,000 a month rent.
So then, when it got into about May, is when our governor finally put the memorandum in. You cannot evict. Gotcha. He shut down evictions and he shut down foreclosures, and the courts across Florida shut down. They stopped all of it. And then it just kept going month to month. Now, fast forward to now.
Yeah.
What's going on? DeSantis, that's DeSantis, right? Yeah, DeSantis finally said, okay, I'm doing the last extension from September 1st to October 1st. But if they can prove that you have not been working with them, that you haven't been at least giving them something, you've been working with them, you've been trying.
Right.
If they show that they have got a numerous amount of time, they try to contact you, call you, and they can prove that to us, you're not protected.
Really?
Yes, that's exactly what happened. It's inside the memorandum. But the remaining balance, like say you were paying like little here, 500 there, 200 there, 400 there, but you racked up maybe over the course of the time, say $5,000.
Right.
They can't send you an eviction after October 1st. They can start asking you for the full rent and then work a payment plan.
I got you.
But they cannot send you an eviction to tell you like 30 days you got to give us that $5,000. No, you can't do it. That's the first thing that people were going to try and do. They were going to try and say, you got to give us the entire amount. And how do you expect somebody that just got back to work and like, okay, as of October 1st or going into October, I'm able to make my full payment. But then you turn around and say, well, no, I'm giving you this amount of time. You got to give me the whole balance. How do you expect them to come up with that kind of money when they just got back to work?
So you have two people.
Right.
They both lost their jobs. They can't afford their mortgage. Unemployment's horrible. The stimulus ain't doing shit, whatever, and everything else is... There's nothing else coming in. What's going to happen, do you think, to these people that really... I mean, is this going to destroy their credit, forfeiting their home? What's going to happen there, do you think? Because there are people legit now, because of COVID, can't afford their payments, can't afford to maintain the home, and have to leave. That can't afford, say, $3,000 rent, or I'm sorry, rent, a mortgage payment, electricity bill, HOA, all these things. That's going to happen. Let's not bullshit each other here. Even if one lost her job, one couldn't. What's going to happen here?
It's coming, and then I'll let Miguel jump in too from his perspective, but I'm finding it's a case-by-case situation. If you got somebody that went back to work, maybe they'll start doing modifications of the loans. Maybe they'll start doing that. Maybe they'll start working the payments out. Like, listen, okay, let's see what happens. Let's get through, like, the holidays maybe, see what happens. It's going to be a case-by-case. But the people who are going to get punished the worst are going to be the people who didn't even make an effort to at least work with their mortgagor, their mortgage company, or their leasing department. And they're all saying, work with us, we'll work with you.
It's not like before in 2008, let's say, for what it was.
No, not like that.
Because that was a whole different type of crash.
It's different now. They're not going to go, like they said, the courts are not going to turn around and look at the, like, wait a minute, this guy worked with you. Or this guy paid something.
This is legit. This is right.
And it sounds like, say, like the mortgagor or the leasing company. Listen, sounds a little vindictive. You're trying to nail this person to the wall, but they're working with you.
Right.
Then again, there have been programs, and I can even put this inside when we put this on the Facebook and we send it out. There is a link that where an abundance amount of money has been put in Orange County and probably surrounding counties to help people catch up on the past rent and help them get through, say, through the holidays and to see what happens by the new year.
Gotcha.
Right. I have a link for it. And from what I understand, there's something like $20 million.
Is that just for rent or for mortgage assistance
COVID?
as well?
Well, it says COVID eviction. I didn't read deeper to see if it was for mortgages. I got to look.
Yeah, eviction usually is renters.
Right.
Apply to,
mortgage, what they're doing is they're doing forbearance, meaning they're taking the payment, putting it on to the end. They're putting it on to the end.
Right.
So they're trying to make it fair for everybody, because who's to say that, well, a renter gets all this free rent, but, well, my mortgage, went on to the end.
Yeah.
Now I'm paying more interest because my balance went up.
Yeah.
Right. So they're trying to figure different things, but this link is a start to help people. And then it has on there for, if you have trouble for your utilities, if you need maybe a little help of, getting a little bit of groceries into the house, just to give you a jump start. but it's it's got about 8 to 10 different things that are helping the communities, and there's a lot of money in there that was donated in.
Yeah, I seriously hope that there's not a whole lot of people in that situation that you described. Both are not working, so that they don't have income. Because again, we talked about the unemployment benefits in the state of Florida. It's not very good, and certainly folks can't make a mortgage payment, feed themselves, and keep the lights on the unemployment benefits alone. So hopefully, there's not a whole lot of people into that situation. What I think is going to happen. I mean, I don't foresee a whole lot of homes flooding the market. Just because I think home values are up and people have money.
Are they up?
Yes.
Have they increased?
Yes.
What's
Yes.
the percentage of that? Just hypothetical. Or what do you think?
I think what I saw recently, year over year, like last month, September of 2020 versus September of 2019, I think it's up like 12-13%.
Now that's Florida. Is that
Florida?
Right.
Yeah, I can only speak to
Yeah, right.
Florida.
We're not talking
Florida
the rest of the
numbers.
country. Right.
So if you've had your home for any period of time, in all likelihood you've got equity in it, and I don't see where people are just going to walk away from that. So if you have some money, you're going to be working with your lender. If you have equity in your home, you're going to be working with your lender. You're not going to want to walk away from that.
Right.
So I don't expect the market to be flooded with a bunch of foreclosures like it happened in 08, 09, 2010. Sure. So and interest rates are still low. So I mean, maybe some of those folks can refinance.
Yeah.
Even 2 years ago, interest rates were not what they are now. I mean, some folks are getting loans at 2.25, 2.5%. 2 years ago, maybe you were getting them at about 3.5.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Stuff can be done, I think, to keep people in their homes. And again, when you have equity in your home, you're going to try to do everything you can to keep that home and keep that money. So I think the market is going to stay pretty vibrant. Still, I think it's still going to be a good market going forward. I still think you're going to have a lot of folks still coming from the Northeast wanting to get down here.
Permanent snowbirds.
Permanent snowbird, no longer seasonal snowbirds. Yes.
Yeah. It might be where it gets flipped. They'll be down here, living down here permanently, and then going to vacation up to the Northeast.
Canadians too. A lot of Canadians and other people from other places, obviously.
Yeah.
Besides our country,
from other countries.
Dealing with the high taxes.
Yeah.
A lot of them have transitioned into they could work from home. Like anywhere I have a computer in the country, I could work. Why am I here?
Right.
Why am I fighting traffic? Why am I riding this train?
For paying these high
3
taxes.
hours a day. The first thing, the taxes. Just all the hustle and bustle and the hardships of living up north.
Especially if you were told to work at home.
Right
now,
Yeah,
why
now
stay
they
in New
don't
York
tell-
if you
yeah,
don't
go
have,
where
if
you
you're
want.
not if you don't have to go to a high rise or
because,
a building or whatever?
Well, many of them abandoned their office buildings.
That's what I'm
They
saying.
gave up the office building. Like, wait a minute, I can do Zoom calls.
For sure.
With 20 of my employees looking right in the face as if we're sitting in a boardroom.
Yeah.
You see it on TV all the time. Whether you're watching, if you're watching some of those news channels, down the dial, you'll see where you got this reporter sitting in his home, and then the other one's sitting at their home, and there might be somebody in the office or in the studio, but a lot of these shows are being done, remotely. So
and you're looking right at just like FaceTime when it started.
And it's speed. I always said that because
It's speed.
I traveled all over the country, and a lot of times I'd be, you got to do a meeting or something. Now with Zoom, but even with Skype, I used to be like, what are we doing this for? Not to, it was cool to say, hey, I got to fly here to do this if you had something to do. But a lot of meetings, if you think about them, you got to go there and meet them. They walk you through corporate office. You sit there and meet someone for an hour, hour and a half. That was a 3-day type of trip. Flying there one day, setting it up the next, flying out the next.
So you can sit in a room, look at each other,
Yeah.
shake a hand, and then you walk away. We could have did this over Zoom.
Right.
For sure.
There
I think
are
it's
many,
becoming
but
more
there
natural.
are. There's a lot of strong business out there that love the art of the handshake.
No, there's no.
They
yeah, of
love
course.
that's why they.
Yeah, they like to
this
brainstorm
technology
personally.
for multimillionaires has been around for years, from when they first started with that video phone years ago.
Yeah. Skype.
Or that Skype, but the one even before that, there was one like a pyramid one or whatever. Started many years ago.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot of big business that it's the art of the handshake. I want to shake your hand. I want to look you in the eye when I'm giving you $100 million business or whatever.
It doesn't even have to be $100 million.
It can be 20. It can be $20.
Right. No, I was going to say, and what we're doing, selling homes. I mean, nobody. I can't say nobody. Very few people are going to buy a home based on a video tour.
Well, that's virtual. They're not. I want to touch it.
Yeah. People want to. You want to kick the tires.
Yeah.
You want to kick the
A
tires.
house is different.
Even a $200,000 house, not a $200 million deal.
Well, like 200 million pens, for a ballpoint or something like that. Those two meet up. I can ship you one pen to look at, and then we can Zoom the meeting. But a lot of people do like that. But then again, a lot of businesses are like, why am I spending $8,000 a month to have 20, 30 employees in here to operate?
Right.
I get rid of that 8,000 plus this, and
No, for sure.
And actually, you, Miguel, even found this out in your prior business, that they're finding the people at home are being more productive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, for sure. They're not exhausted. I mean, they could be
They're not
tired, but they're not
exhausted.
as, they're not
running
caught
to
up
the
at
office.
wardrobe, lunch, leaving for lunch, and you could just start when you want to
They're not-
start, and
right.
you're at home a lot longer.
They're not tired of coming in the office and then they disappear to the water fountain, or to the water, whatever. Everybody gathers around the water cooler. They take, instead of a 30-minute break, it's a 40-minute break.
A lot less commiserating, too. You got to realize, too, in a lot of offices, there was a lot of drama built around, or a lot of aggravation.
Wasted time.
Right. And it was all bullshit. Now you're at home. It's just about work.
Right.
A lot of it. Not saying.
And not only is it, are you more, is it just about work? Because assuming you don't have the distractions of, young children and you're having to try to help them with schoolwork and stuff.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, it is, you are more productive because, you could be working and, okay, it's 5 o'clock, I'm done, I'm going to go away. And then you're sitting at the house, you're sitting there cooking dinner, making dinner or whatever, and you think of something, oh man, I should have done. And then you can sit right back down on the computer in the evening and get more work done. That may not be exactly healthy for someone to work 10 hours a day every single day for 6 days a week, but it happens. People are actually putting in more time working from home, teleworking, than they would if you're in the office. In the office, man, if it gets quitting time, you'll get up and go. Or if you got to take your kid to the ball game, you'll leave your office at whatever time, take your kid to the ball game. 99 out of 100 aren't going to go back to the office to finish what they're doing. But if you're working from home, you take your kid from the ball game. Now you get back home, you sit back down at your desk, and you finish what you were doing.
Yeah.
So the employer gets a lot more out of a lot more productivity, I think, out of the employee with the teleworking. I think they've realized that.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing I realized too is, so if you had a job or you got furloughed or let go or didn't get, or if you work at home, let's just say, I should say more or less, if you don't want to leave your home now because it's so much more valuable, I think, too, because you may have set your home up as an office if you're working for somebody, where before, if everything was at your workplace, you kind of lived near work or whatever, kind of from that situation. But if you in the last 6 months say you've been working at home, I think a lot of people they don't want it's
Nothing
not as
changed.
you don't want it to change too necessarily because now your kids are in school. You kind of got a routine for you to get up now and maybe move somewhere else, which will be easy to work.
Right.
But it's also kind of work and home kind of blended into one. I guess you could say.
Well, Miguel, you can answer this. From opposed to going to the office, waking up in the morning, going right to your computer, depending on what time you even get up earlier, is probably just a little more less stressful than getting all ready, eating, getting ready, jump in the car, all the way to the office. You just walk into your office and start.
Yeah, that's
and maybe a little bit more calmer.
Not only that, but just the amount of time that you save, that you get back for yourself.
Yes.
When you're having to go into an office environment, now you gotta shave and get dolled up and put on your clothes and then drive to the office, and depending on the commute, all that time in the morning could take you an hour and a half to get just before you just to get you to sit down and start your day at the office. Whereas working from home, you can get up 10 minutes before you're supposed to be on the computer starting your day.
Go right to work.
And get right to work. And then in the afternoon, you save on the commute as well. So it saves you time, money, and energy. As an employee, the employee saves time, money, and energy. The employer gets a more productive, a happier employee too.
It saves money, gas, lunch. I mean, let's call it for what it is. Mm-hmm. What I found interesting back to real estate is, like one of our friends, his wife works at home, and I do a lot of things at home now, more than ever, because I was always traveling. I think back to if you're purchasing a home or going to rent and you plan on working home more, you got to almost set your home up where it's half home and half kind of business. So if you don't have an extra room, say for an office area, because your kids each had a room, right? Say you're in a 3-bedroom, each kid's got a room and you got a room. Now you're on the kitchen table.
Yeah, you have to, if you're going to make it a point or you're going to be required to work from home, you have to have a designated space to yourself. You can't be working on, a big project and you got little Tommy, throwing his Cheerios across and
Yeah.
And if you don't have that dedicated space, call Joey or I. We'll help you find it.
We'll help you find
That's
it.
my point. So, I think, my point was...
We'll get it for you.
It's not just about finding a home now, regardless if it's Florida or anywhere. Mm-hmm. You got to kind of find what your future is going to be like.
Right.
It's going to be more residential, right? And maybe more, it's not, in my opinion, maybe I'm wrong, it's not more commercial, right? So more people need to pay attention to, if they buy something, they may get furloughed again, or they may be
Make
working
sure you have
from
that extra space.
Yeah, you
to
need
yourself.
that space. You need something bigger.
Husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, yourself, kids at the house. Make sure you get something that you have space that way you can retreat to. You can maybe close a door, that you can concentrate, go to work, do a little, do your, you have that little bit of space for yourself.
Yeah.
And it makes it a lot easier.
I think for more and more Americans, this is the new reality. This is the new norm.
Yeah.
This is the new norm where people are gonna be working from home more. Now, you may not be able to get away from the office altogether. Mm-hmm. But I think they're going to be opening it up more and more for people to work from home, and you will need that additional space. People are starting, I think, to downsize a little bit.
Exactly.
They were going for I don't know.
Who wants to,
15 years ago, 20 years ago, it was all about square footage.
Yeah.
I don't think it is so much now, or prior to this pandemic. I don't think it was so much. I think people are starting to downsize a little bit.
Yeah.
But now, with the pandemic and with people needing, office space in the home, maybe we'll start, going back to a little bit bigger square footage.
Right.
I'm going to wrap it up with this one last question. Are you finding people desperate now to sell their home because of the situation they're in, or is it just
necessarily
chilling?
Desperate? Like I said, there's always a reason why someone has to buy or sell or rent or whatever. Mm-hmm. There's always a reason. Just the one thing right now, which is making it a little more of a supply and demand, is many people, they were uncertain of what's going to happen. So a lot of people took their houses off the market. So
I'm saying, are people calling you now and saying, listen, my husband or my wife got furloughed, or we got let go, or one of us doesn't? Are they saying, listen, we need to sell this home?
We're not getting a lot of those calls, no.
No. Okay.
We're getting calls that they want to move, or they're like, say, in our office, we do a lot of marketing around the country.
Right.
We're getting phone calls from up north that people are calling our office.
Right.
Like, hey, get me out of here. One lady in Philly, Joey, get me out of here.
Right.
Then another friend, another guy I'm helping, him and his wife and the baby get out of Pennsylvania. And then another guy called me from New Jersey. that he's tightening things up. He wants to come on down.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I think if people are comfortable in their home, I don't know that they're actually trying to sell it and take the money off the table, unless they're going to downsize and get something a little bit less expensive. But if you're comfortable in your home and it's the amount of space that you need, and let's say you have some equity, a good chunk of equity in it. Now, if you try to sell that home to replace it, it's going to cost you what you just sold it for,
Right?
And you have no equity. Yeah,
It's not even an escalation or de-escalation. No. It's a lateral.
It's a lateral. So if you're in a comfortable spot and your family, the home fits your family, you're not really selling. And I don't think inventories levels have gone up. I mean, inventory is still low.
Right. It's still.
I've heard that we have.
People took.
That we have about 2
months
months worth of inventory, and typically it's a lot more than that.
Mm-hmm.
So again, if you're going to sell, you're probably doing it because you're going to downsize,
Right?
Or maybe your family grew and you need to expand.
Yeah.
But I don't think people are selling just to take money off the table.
No.
If you want to take money off the table, refi. Because you can't replace what you got for what you paid for.
And what you put into it a lot of times,
right.
maybe.
And that's why we tell people, if you're afraid, don't think that the answer is you have to sell your home, because you'd be surprised what your mortgage lender, your landlord, or your leasing team will do for you. They will work with you,
right?
As long as you work with them.
Yeah.
There's no one out there that we see so far. There's no one out there looking to hurt anyone.
Right.
They don't want to see a family out on the streets.
Of course
Just
not.
that they
don't want to lose their business.
Right.
Let's call it for what it is.
Well,
they don't want to lose
company,
money, and they don't want to start all over with someone else. They don't know what you're going to do to the property.
Right.
Let's call it for what it is.
The mortgage company, the landlord, or the leasing department, they have bills to pay too.
Yeah.
But work with them, because they're getting help maybe from somewhere, from the government or the state. We don't know how they're doing it.
Right.
But there's help for everybody.
Okay.
Get on the internet and research it. Like I said, I'll put this link. It's a start. But there is help out there that you don't lose your home, that you don't get evicted, that you don't end up on the streets. But when you do absolutely nothing...
Hide. Ostrich.
Exactly. You stick your head in the sand, your ass is going to be out on the streets. Right. Yeah.
And just so we're clear, we're talking mainly about Orlando, Orange County, Seminole County for the most part. I don't want you to think we're talking about Tampa, hypothetically, or Cocoa Beach or Daytona. Right. So we're kind of...
Central Florida.
Central Florida, but real central.
Yeah.
We're not talking ocean.
Be responsible out there. That's all they're asking.
All right. So I'm going to wrap this one up.
Thank you.
What do you think? I want to do a follow-up. You guys want to do it? Too tired?
Right.
You're going to do another one? All right, we'll do another one. We'll do a part two, but I'm going to wrap this one up. Thanks for checking out the Rich Celenza Show. You might want to check out my YouTube channel. It's just my name, Rich Celenza. I'm on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Joe Pizzani over here. He is on... What are you on, Joe? You're on Facebook, obviously.
I'm on Facebook.
LinkedIn?
Yes, under Joe Pensante or the Allegiant Group by Remax Town Centre.
What else?
I'm not too much on Instagram, but mostly these, what I just said. And then Remax Town Centre is our business, which will be attached to this post.
Yeah, and they're downtown Orlando, like I was saying earlier, right off Central, across from Lake Eola.
Right on Lake Eola.
Yeah, so that's their address.
Lake Eola Heights.
Yeah. And Miguel, where you at? You're in...
I'm on Facebook as well, Miguel Martinez, Realtor. And yeah, you can find me on my... if you have a question, email address, m.martinez@rtcglobal.net.
That's wonderful. And we didn't F-bomb or anything.
That's it. We did good. And all our information will be attached to this post.
Yeah, and if you want to find us, like I work here all of a sudden, we're at Metro Pizza. Is that what it's called?
Oh, we live at Metro Pizza.
Yeah, so if you guys want to come down here, if you're looking for a home, a rental, whatever the case may be, come on down. They do pizza there, and then sometimes on weekends we hang at our close friend's place, No-No's in Altamont, so you could come down there.
And if you ever have questions, it doesn't matter if you're buying or selling, we're the most friendliest people you'll ever meet. pop in and ask for somebody or ask for us, and we'll be happy to talk to you, even if you're not buying or selling anything.
Yeah.
We don't mind at all. It's all about helping people. That's what it's all about.
All right, we're going to do a part 2. Take care. All right.